For this video, we're going to learn about a new type of graph used for quantitative data. Remember that quantitative is numeric data, and histograms can be used with both discrete and continuous quantitative data. Histograms display class versus frequency, very similar to how bar graphs did for categorical data. The difference is that numbers on a number line are continuous in a way that categories like categories are not. Words are hard today. So when we graph this, unlike bar charts where we had gaps between those disconnected categories, histograms, those bars should connect. Because the number line is continuous, those bars should touch up next to each other. So we're going to go ahead and walk through the steps for making a histogram. So you'll notice the very first step is, if you don't already have a frequency table, draw a frequency table. So the next couple graphs we're going to talk about are based on frequency tables. You can see for our example, I'm pulling a frequency table from a previous video. This is the frequency table we built together in our video on frequency tables. And you'll notice we're displaying class and frequency. So for this graph, I'm focused just on these first two columns. Class limits versus frequency. The classes are going to form the x-axis. The frequency is going to form the y. So we're going to go ahead and draw our axes. And then we're going to label it. So we weren't told what those class limits represent, so we're just going to label them class. And in this case, I'm not going to label them class limits, because in number 3, we have a special deal with the hash mark. So for now, I'm just going to leave it class, and we'll come back to it. Y I'm going to label frequency. And then my next step, step 3, is to scale both axes, assign numbers to both axes. We know for frequency, I'm just going to look for the biggest frequency. So for the y-axis, my max is 8. I just need to count to 8. On the x-axis, the hash marks should be between the class limits. And these are called the class boundaries. So I'm going to have a boundary here, which is going to be this boundary, a boundary here, which is that boundary, a boundary here, which is that boundary, a boundary here, which is that boundary, and then this boundary here. So that's going, got a shaky hand. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hash marks on my grid. So let's go ahead and map that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That fits nicely. And then on the y-axis, I'm counting to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I made my y-axis a little bit too tall, so let's bring that down a little bit. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to label those hash marks. So the number that's between 2 and 3 is 2.5. The number that's between 4 and 5 is 4.5. Between 6 and 7 is 6.5. between 8 and 9 is 8.5. You'll notice that just like our class limits, these numbers are also separated by our class width, 2. So I can predict what that last class boundary will be by adding 2. I can figure out what that first class boundary should be by subtracting 2, 0.5. Those class boundaries are going to form the hash marks in my picture. So 0.5, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5, 10.5. And I'm going to put a little squiggle here because we're not starting at 0. We're starting a little bit below 0. So that x-axis is starting in a weird place. My y-axis is starting from 0. Our last step, now that we've done the hard parts, the frequency table and the labeling, is just to draw the bars. And just like with bar charts, height equals frequency. So for my first class, from 1 to 2, I have a frequency of 3. So my first bar is going to go up to 3. My second has 5. My next is 3. I have a 1, and then I have an 8. And that is my histogram. Again, you'll notice all of those bars touch, right? The bars butt up next to each other because these classes are continuous. I flow right from one class into the next, all the way down. There's no gap between the rows in my table. There shouldn't be a gap between the bars in my histogram. All right, if you have any questions about making frequency tables or drawing their corresponding histograms, feel free to send me an email or drop by office hours. Otherwise, I will see you in our next video.